What's the Car Talk podcast?
Hello and welcome back to the Car Talk podcast, a show where we talk about the latest transportation opinion and car news. Matty is joining me this week, as usual. Yes, we're good, aren't we, Matty? How are you doing?
Very good. You joined me from my inconspicuous new flat.
And you joined me in my same bedroom as I've had before.
Yes. So, what are we talking about today, Bayley?
We've got an interesting theme, Matty, because we're going to be talking about like gear changes, like what's the best sort of gear change, manual gearboxes or flappy paddle or automatic. So it's going to be quite a big debate, but I think it should be quite an interesting one.
Yeah.
But let's start with the car news, of course, as usual. Have you got any interesting headlines?
Well, I think before I even get to what I've seen this week with the car news, can we talk about petrol prices and how bad that has gotten?
I know, mate. I mean, I'm paying, more because I have to put the Supreme in. So I'm paying like £70-80 to put like 40 litres of petrol in. Just
out of interest, though, because obviously you live down south and I live up north, and there's a big difference. But what's the highest per litre you've seen petrol and diesel in your ends?
Highest petrol, like normal unleaded, I think it was like 175, 176.
Okay. Yeah.
And then obviously Supreme is like 180, when it's like the usual price around here. But yeah, 170 is kind of like the norm at the moment. Like most of the garages around me have all 170 or 169.9, which is 170.
Mm-hmm. Well, I've seen, I think this was in an Esso, petrol 179.9 a litre, and diesel 188.9.
It is ridiculous, isn't it?
Wow.
My mate said there's a guy that basically he goes like to scrapyards and takes the leftover fuel and like the engines and things out of there and then filters it all. So he has like loads of fuel, but he basically gets it for free, which I might start doing because that's a genius idea.
I thought the scrapyard done that themselves, though. I could be wrong. Maybe not all of them do that, but
maybe, yeah. I mean,
thought they had to drain it for explosions and risks and shit like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, probably. But I don't know. Like maybe there's still like very small bits left in the system. Maybe. Who knows?
Yeah, very horrible times with the fuel in it. Very horrible.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. Hopefully it will go back to the lockdown prices. What we need is another lockdown. That would be good to have to see people. Anyway, so I've got I'll start off if you want. I've got some interesting car news this month, and we'll start with the new Peugeot 4008 Coupe SUV, which is a new 308 based rival to the Renault Arcana. It's got some camo pictures.
Another 008 that we didn't know we needed. Tell us about it, Bayley. What is it?
I don't really know much about it because I didn't research it, but it looks pretty nice. And yeah, it's quite big looking actually. It's got quite a big hunchback.
It's going to be around the same size as a Toyota CHR or something like that.
Yeah. Probably, yeah. But I don't really know much about it. I'm pretty sure it's a hybrid, is it?
I mean, who's going to buy this? Surely this is, like I say, it's an SUV we didn't know we needed. And we've done without it up to now because people have been buying, I don't know, Toyota CHRs, Kia Neros, Volkswagen T-Rocks and things. Who the hell is going to buy this?
I don't know. Well, I've just seen actually it's got it comes in petrol, diesel and plug-in hybrid, also an all-electric version because there's quite a variety. Maybe it will do all right.
Yeah.
Whether they're good engines or never know.
Well, they're Vauxhall engines now, aren't they? Or Vauxhall Peugeot. Yes. I get confused. Can we move on to another SUV?
Sure.
Well, this week, we've reported about this before on the podcast. It's a very, very, very strongly followed subject by our viewers and listeners, but I'm pleased to report this week that the new 2022 smart electric SUV has been spotted.
Nice.
Yes.
I'm not a fan of it, as I mentioned before.
I'm not interested. Yeah.
No.
Should we move on?
Not interested. Yes, let's move on. I've got some good news. It's whether it's good news or bad news, because it's a new Maserati. It's their first electric Maserati, and it's basically the Gran Turismo, which they've been making for about 100 years now. And it's going to be electric, but it's got a new triple motor setup, which is cool. And it's going to be on sale next year, I think. It looks good. The only problem is the electric engine, as I mentioned, because, well, I think the Maserati Gran Turismo has got one of the nicest engine sounds, like probably top 3. It's got that 4.7 litre V8. Same with the 8C. And it's really, I literally saw one earlier, like pulling off the petrol station. So I'm gonna miss that sound.
Do they have I was gonna say, do they have a particularly good sound? Because is that what sells Maseratis and things like that?
I think so, yeah, because they sound amazing.
Yeah.
Did you watch the and Jeremy reviewed the Disco Volante Alfa Romeo? That review he did.
When was that? I probably did.
Quite a while ago.
Yeah.
You probably. It's got the same engine as that, but it's from the Maserati. So
right.
It does sound amazing. It's really nice.
Is it going to have horsepower? Good horsepower? Obviously it will, but what is it compared to petrol? Is it going to be... Don't know. Do electric cars work in horsepower? That's a good point.
I think they do the kilojoules, but then that's converted to horsepower, isn't it?
Oh, right, okay. Yeah.
So whatever the kilojoules is, it will be not as good as the petrol one. It might be better. Probably have more torque.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Speaking of sports cars becoming electric, don't really know how I feel about this, but the Audi TT is going to be replaced next year. It's going to be axed. With an e-tron GT, which is going to be a 4-door electric sports coupe. So not the Audi.
So another
TT
Audi. It's another Audi that's the same as the others.
Yeah. I mean, right. Have you got any sort of relationship with the TT? Because I never liked it as a car, and I've driven.
Obviously, I've driven the Mark. I've actually driven all of the TTs. In fact, I've driven the older one.
Yeah.
I've driven the. I've been in the second generation one, and I've driven the third one. And I would say I actually do quite like them. The original's the best, in my opinion, because obviously it's the original and it's an old car. They always are better.
Yeah.
And it's a manual. I mean, you can get the manual new one, but it's
you can get them in a diesel as well, can't you? I drove one of them the other day. It was a barrel of laughs.
There's no point. That's the thing. Like the TT, the original TT was good because it had the three engines, the 180, the 225, and the V6, and that's it. That's all you needed.
And it was better than a Mazda MX-5, wasn't it?
No. It was very good to drive.
I really thought you'd go, and it was better than a Mazda MX-5, just out of autopilot mode there, but I couldn't get you with that one. But,
having driven that and then literally straight after driving that, drove my car and it felt really slow. Still preferred mine. I was like, yes, this is better.
Well, this is a good quote actually. Not only does the headline say that it's an emotional sort of thing, there probably will be a bit of emotion in the industry about it, but also they've said that Audi's senior management team has been engaged in heated discussions over the TT's future for more than 3 years.
Right.
So obviously this there seems to be a bit of politics in the office as to whether this is the right route to go down. I don't actually know if they're doing well with sales on them or not. I don't know, but
I do see quite a lot of TTs, like the new ones. They're really nice looking actually. I don't think I would buy one, but
I wouldn't buy
I do appreciate them. I'd get an R8 because it's the better version.
And what do you think of the possible replacement? The look of it, the e-tron GT.
I actually do like the look of the new electric Audis. It's one of the few brands that are doing quite well with the electric car market in terms of the looks, in my opinion. But I don't know. It's just if they name it the TT, it's going to be like, well, it's not.
I
It's like the Mackie. It's not really a Mustang.
I don't think someone like Audi would make that mistake. I think it's a nice car in its own right, but because I know that it's replacing the TT, it's almost like, your mate getting sacked from his job and the new fella replacing him being really nice, but you can't quite commit because, you know what I mean? It's like the family dog dying and the replacement being really nice, but he's replaced the original family dog.
Good bit of news there, Matty. Quite like to talk about the new Aston Martin Vantage, which we know is currently a V8, the new one, and they're bringing out the V12 one. Thank God for that. Now, this is going to be the last V12 Aston Martin Vantage, which is a shame, but it's going to also be the most powerful. It's got 700 brake horsepower, which is a lot, and 0 to 60 in 3.4 seconds. And, well, it doesn't really look any different apart from a bit more aggressiveness.
It's got a brown interior. That's the only problem
with
that. Yeah.
Well, I'm assuming you'll be able to customise your trim inside. Maybe a cream or a red leather. Be quite nice. But I'm quite partial to the brown. So if you are driving that car, you are over 60. So it works.
Yeah. I have decided the car brand that is the most innovative manufacturer of them all. I've concluded who it is. So, a couple of questions really. Who do you think was the first car manufacturer to introduce the air suspension?
I don't know. Is it Volvo?
No. Same people.
It's a wild guess.
The same people that introduced climate control and heated seats still used on cars today. Do you want to know who it was, or do you want another guess?
Mercedes?
No.
Okay, tell me.
It was Cadillac.
Cadillac?
Yeah.
Oh,
mad.
That was very unexpected.
So, how they went from bad to worse, I don't know. But thinking of things like making shite, I don't know. But yeah, there's a whole column on here from the 1930s to now as to who made created the first thing. So anti-lock brakes, it was Jensen. Intermittent windscreen wipers, it was Mercury, that's an American brand. High level brake stop lights, it was the Nissan Note. No, it wasn't really. But yeah.
That's really interesting because do you know what that's like? It's like the really nerdy kid and really not very liked kid in school creating something brilliant, and then the more popular, good-looking person or one of the other students nicks that idea and then becomes famous for doing that.
Trip computer, Cadillac Seville, 1978.
Wow.
They created loads. Remote locking was first seen on the Renault Fuego. Diesel particulate filter, a bit boring, but that was from a Mercedes. Heated front windscreen for Granada. I could go on. Yeah, there's 80 different points there, but yeah,
wow,
very interesting.
That's quite interesting.
It was Cadillac that thought of them. That's who I thought. So yeah, car of the year, Cadillac Seville from 1988, 78.
Wow, that's interesting, Matty.
You're not interested.
Like I said, I'm not that interested. I mean, I am to a point. It's like I said, they've created it, and then someone's nicked it and just been like, yeah, that's mine now. And then now Cadillac don't really do that well, do they?
I think they only exist in America, don't they?
Yeah, exactly.
I was trying to find something that Rover done first to make you proud of Rover, but I couldn't. So yeah.
To be fair, the one I went in the other day, the 45. It was quite funny because the door handle on the passenger side was it was so Rover because it basically was hanging off, and then you had to push it in and then push it out to open it. And I was like, this is brilliant. It's really being very rovery here.
What about night vision and satellite radio?
Cadillac. Was that Mercedes?
No.
Cadillac as well.
Cadillac as well.
No point guessing because it's all Cadillac.
Yeah.
I'd like to mention they've teased a new M3. It's the same M3, but it's the touring estate version. And this looks really cool actually, because I do particularly like the estate sort of souped up cars.
Yeah, I'm glad we're still going with estates. Yeah.
Yeah, they're good. Well, you can have a family, but also you can drive at speed. Now I'm assuming this is going to rival the AMG estates and also the Audi estates as well. It's like the RS4, RS6, AMG 63 C-Class one and the E-Class. And I think it will do quite well. It looks really nice from the back. They've only showed the back really, unless there is a front photo that I'll put up on screen. It's the same design as the current M3, but it's obviously got it's a wagon shape at the back. So that's that. I thought I'd mention that because it sounds pretty interesting.
One more thing from me. I know that we're about to get onto our theme, but this sort of ties in quite nicely. What do you think of the idea of a clutchless manual gearbox? Because that is something that Ford is developing and trying to get a patent on, I think. What about that? How would you feel about that?
Well, the thing is, the clutch is it's an actual gear, like the normal manual, or is it like a flappy pedal?
Normal manual. Right.
Yeah, the thing is with that, it's the clutch work is like half the work. So if you're not doing that, it would just feel a bit odd, like changing gear without pressing something else to get it into that sort of gear.
I think as drivers, we all have a love-hate relationship with the clutch, don't we? Because it's nice, satisfying sometimes to put your clutch down, change gear, find your bite, set off dead quick. But then when it comes to a traffic jam and you're constantly building the clutch up and putting it down and building it back up again, it's so annoying. That
is true, but then why wouldn't you just get an automatic? if you're in that situation,
we're about to come on to that, aren't we? So I'll let you lead.
We are, yes.
Yeah.
Well, before we do that, actually, Matty, we got our games. Now, if you aren't familiar with our games, these are Scrap, Drive and Own. This is sort of like kill. Well, not kill. Yeah, it's is it kill? You explain it because you're the ones that created them.
Well, yes. The first game is to be honest, I'm furious because I set up a lovely link there for Bayley to open up to, and apparently we're doing Scrap, Drive, Own, but never mind.
Very sorry.
Scrap, Drive, Own is basically like Snog, Marry, Avoid, but for cars. So we give each other 3 cars. It's Bailey's round this week, so he gives me 3 cars. One of them I have to scrap and just get rid of off the face of the earth forever. The other one I have to drive, but only for a day. I can give it back at the end. And the other one I have to own for forever, basically. And it's difficult if it's 3 crap cars. It's difficult if it's 3 good cars. So I will allow Bailey to give me my 3 this week.
Well, as you've mentioned, it's quite difficult to do 3 crap cars, and all of these are crap. Oh. So we first of all have the Nissan Cube, not Duke. I wrote Duke and then I changed it. Then we have the Fiat Multipla. And finally, the Pontiac Aztek.
I remember them. Oh my god, the Pontiac Aztek. Okay, so straight off the bat, I'd scrap the Aztek.
Good man.
It's almost like one of those horrible brutalist buildings. Do you know what I mean? It is. someone will try and say that that's some sort of classic that needs to be preserved, but no, just bomb the fucking thing. Yeah, just set it on fire. Yeah,
put it into space.
Yeah, into the Aztec universe. So we scrap that. That's out of the way. Now the Nissan Cube and the Fiat Multipla. Okay, so I get why you wouldn't want to drive them, and I get why they're crap, but they're both interesting cars.
I mean, I would say they are, yes, but I probably wouldn't want to be in them.
No, but what would you least likely to be seen in? Because I know
probably the Aztec.
No, I was sorry. Out of the Aztec's
Out of the two.
in the scrap. So
Yes.
I mean, I know this is a bit of reverse psychology, but I already know my answer. So, but what do you think?
I would probably drive the Fiat and then keep the Cube.
Would you? Okay.
Yes.
Because I'm the other way around.
Just because, really, interesting.
I think the multiplier is. I know I've just said the Aztec won't be some sort of classic, but I think the multiplier will. I think one day it will. And I just think the Cube is almost too mad. Do you know what I mean? It is. It's shit. It is what it is.
Well, they're all shit, to be fair.
But come on, the multiplier's got 3 seats in the front and 3 in the back. I mean, and it's...
Yeah, but it looks deformed.
Yeah, but it's like trying to... It's like picking between would you rather eat shit or drink piss. They're both... This is really hard for me, do you know what I mean? I'm trying to make a case for one of them, but it's really hard, so... Yeah, so scrap the Aztec, drive the Cube, just to see what it was like, but own the multiplier, I think. Yeah.
Well, that's pretty good. It's pretty similar to, obviously, the other way around, like I said.
See, so it's crap car week this week. With that.
Yeah, basically.
Okay. So I've got three crap people for Autostar, so that's good. It all ties in.
Right, that's perfect.
Yeah.
Go on then. What's the question for Autostar?
So we come on to Waterstar. This is another one of my games, and it's my turn this week to give Bayley 3 stars, famous people, with an automotive theme behind them. So this week I'm giving Bayley 3 singers actually. The first one is James Blunt.
Yep.
You know him. You're beautiful.
Yes.
The second one is Ed Sheeran.
Right.
I can't think of a song of his at the minute, but
I can't either, and he's like the most popular fucking person in the world.
The third one is Will Young. Think about a leave right now. And the question with these Autostars is which of these Autostars has been caught speeding? So
all of them.
Will Young, Ed Sheeran, or James Blunt?
Can I say all of them?
No, but they have all been on Top Gear. They have all been guests on Top Gear. And Ed Sheeran couldn't drive, but he was a guest on Top Gear.
Yeah. So is he out of that then?
No.
So he's
an option.
So you're telling me only one of them has, or
only one of them has been caught speeding? Yeah.
Right. I reckon it's Ed then.
You think Ed Sheeran's been caught speeding?
Yes.
Driving at 90 down those... Yeah, he has. Yeah, it was even one of his songs that he was driving 90 down the country. Like he was caught speeding doing... I can't remember actually how much it was, because I was basically Googling celebrities that have been caught speeding to try and think of a theme. But yes, you're correct, it was Ed Sheeran. Did you get it at home? Let us know.
Right, so we're going to move on to our theme now, which is, well, we're going to be discussing what's the best type of gearbox and what is the best manual gear shifts you can do in a car. Now, Matty, I've actually got a website up, and it's called Top Gear, and it's basically a list of the top 9 best manual gearbox that you can buy now, basically, to drive with, which is quite interesting. So I thought I'd share them with you and see if we both agree. So at I'll go from 9. I don't know why they chose 9. It was stupid. So the number 9 is Toyota GR Yaris.
I'd love to drive one of those. I'd love to own one of those, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Number 8 is Ford Mustang Bullet. So the new one, that is, because it's got like it's got a 6-speed, and it's like a golf ball at the top.
Right. Okay.
Then at number 7, you've got the Caterham 7, which I bet is really cool. It's an ultra short shift, so that would be quite fun to use. Then number 6, we have an Aero Atom. Number 5, we have the MX-5, obviously. I'm surprised it's not number 1, actually.
Number 4 is the Audi TT.
God, if it was, I would end it. Lotus Exige is number 4. And this is a car that I actually am really, really interested in now. I don't know why. It's kind of really grown on me recently. And it's the Porsche Cayman GT4. It's because it's a manual. And that comes in at number 3. And then the last 2, we have the Ford Fiesta at number 2, which actually, I don't know if I can agree with that.
It's on my list, mate.
Is it?
Yeah.
It's a good gear change, but it's not, I don't think, second. And then number 1 is Honda Civic Type R, apparently.
Okay.
So that's that. What do we think?
I think there's some good choices in there. Not all of them I can
Definitely
obviously relate to because I haven't driven them, but I think especially something like a Caterham, it's a really sort of, I think the word is wholesome because they're proper hand-built cars, aren't they? And I could imagine them to have a really well thought out, well built, well oiled gearbox built by people in a shed. And it is literally just meant to, there's no frills with a Caterham, is there? And it's probably going to have everything driver focused, including the gear change.
Exactly, I definitely agree with that. I mean, literally seeing like videos of driving and people driving it makes me want to drive it because of, like, the gearbox looks sick. Yeah, like, it looks really cool.
And MX-5 I can relate of. What else was on
which
there?
You have driven, haven't you? You've driven my one.
Yeah. Well,
which you actually, fun fact, you actually reviewed, but you never got the video out because the footage went.
The footage, either corrupted, but I probably lost it. More likely.
Very Matty.
So I am going to come back and do that one day.
Sure.
What's the next bit?
So I've also got another website up, Matty, as well, which you might find interesting. This is the another top 9 is weird ways to change gear. So it's different versions. This could be quite a good one to talk about because, well, there's not just a manual that you can do. You can obviously change it via various other methods.
Yes.
So we'll go straight in at number 9, and it's the Mitsubishi Super Shift, which I don't really know much about, but it looks quite interesting. And basically, it looks like it has a like power and economy gear stick instead of like a button, which is quite interesting. And it looks quite, it looks like it would probably be.
What is it? Number
useful.
2, number 4,
number 9, right at the bottom.
What the hell is that? Wow, I've never seen that before.
No.
So you've got a 4-speed gearbox and you've got a power and economy setting.
But so number 8 is the
But you
Volkswagen.
don't have any power in the first place, do you?
Well, that's what I was thinking.
You've got a 4-speed box.
Yeah. I suppose, I don't know what that's for. I need to look more into that. But the next one is the Volkswagen Auto Stick. I'm going to read you out the description. One of the several auto stick designs. This elegant system is basically a clutchless manual. So this is the sort of thing you were talking about before.
Oh, okay.
Matty.
So it's been done before. That's mad.
Yeah, looks like it. But obviously by Volkswagen. It's always Germans that do it, isn't it?
Or Cadillac.
The next one looks mad. It's like 3 different gear knobs, like all in random gear like angles and things. And it's called the Hurst Lightning Rods. It's basically inspired by like drag racing, apparently.
Yeah.
The lever for each shift off the back of an auto for when you weren't actually racing. So one standard PRNDS, so that's park, reverse, neutral, drive, and then you got 2 manual shifters from first to second. So I suppose it's like half and half. It's a weird one. So that's that. You've also got at number 6, the Bendix Electric Hand. This is really weird. I never knew these actually existed.
Well, where is the electric hand on that picture?
I think it's behind the steering wheel.
Is it that thing there? It's like a column shift thing, is it?
Yeah, it looks like that.
Yeah.
and it's got a clutch as well, so that's sort of a manual. Then you've got the Abarth 695 Biposto Do Ring H pattern. So I'm assuming that's a sequential of some sorts, or I don't know. We're really good at this, as you can tell.
Yeah.
We're learning at the same time, though, Matty. That's the thing. Then we've got the column shift, which is quite a common thing on American cars. Yeah, and a Mercedes as well. Isn't it? It's basically like the Citroen DS's sort of pre-selector thing, isn't it? Yeah. Mm-hmm. And then you've got the Ford Model T Madness. This doesn't actually say. So it says changing gear was achieved by floor-mounted pedal, which engaged drive, and then a lever on the flanks pushed forward, while another pedal was pressed to keep the car rolling. So not the throttle, mind you. Kind of makes sense, but it's all really. And then you've got the obviously Citroen DS wand.
Yes, which, very good.
Many people should know about. And finally got the Porsche's push-pull buttons, which is essentially like a double clutch, but it's like buttons instead. So there's that. Seems quite interesting.
I mean, what is your favourite? Is it between flappy paddle and auto? What would you have to have?
Probably flappy pedal, because that kind of works as both. Yeah.
It gets so annoying though, flappy paddles. Like, it's such a novelty. Do you know what I mean? To me, it's just,
I don't know,
a gimmick sort of thing.
It's not though, because I've driven a few cars with flappy pedals, and you can have it in automatic as well. So it's like it still works. Like my mum's Mercedes has got all automatic and a pedal shift, but it's not very good. But the actual new AMG Mercedes with all the advanced 7-speed gearboxes are actually very good, because they're instant, and it feels like so that's what I would have personally, but obviously I would rather have a manual at the end of the day.
Yeah. So
definitely a manual.
Do you block shift in your MX-5?
No.
You don't?
I don't. I sort of do. I mean, I do a bit of heel and toe when I'm going around a nice bend. I try and rev match sometimes. Yeah. But mainly, like when I'm driving normally, I just sort of change really slowly. I'm like...
See, if I've got someone tailgate me, I take great pride in block shift, and I'll be like, okay, well, I'm going to stay in third, and then bang, fifth, and I just escape in my dreams.
See, I don't block shift when I change up. I only do it when I change down. So, usually I go from fifth to third.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
And that's kind of like what I do. That's kind of it.
Yeah.
That's sort of the main block shift I do. Other than that, I don't really do much else.
What is your favourite order to change in, and why is it second to third?
It is second to third.
Yeah, it's the best way, isn't it? It's so much satisfaction. You get that fizzing sensation, don't you?
Yeah, unless you have a bootleg gearbox. It would probably be first to second. Yeah. Sorry. Yes, it would. Yeah. But yeah, it's that on my car especially. The second to third is amazing, but actually equally the fourth stands up really well, because that like little push down, and it just clicks, and it's like, yes, the best feeling.
Yeah. What's the worst gearbox you've ever experienced?
Probably Rob's gearbox in his old Clio.
Oh, okay.
Because it's pretty battered, that car, so that doesn't help, but that's probably one of the worst. I mean, to use, I would say it would be the Fiat 500, that old one I drove, the 1950s one, because you have to. Well, the pedals are like the size of ants, and then you have to press it down to put it into neutral, and then you have to press it again, and so you have to come off it and then press it again to actually get it into a gear. So you're pressing it twice for one gear.
Basically, yeah.
Yeah, basically.
Well, the worst one for me was a Citroen C4 Cactus. It felt like it had done like 200,000 miles, because it was that loose that it was just awful to use. But then I actually find older makes like 16 plate makes, C classes and A classes, and also BMWs, their gearbox is really like stodgy and like steering coal. They're just awful.
I know what you mean. They're just not like there. They're sort of just like, well, that's a gearbox, that'll do.
It's awful.
Whereas there's no actual thought going into it.
It's got to be automatic for them sort of cars. The manuals are shit.
Definitely.
Yeah.
I mean, my Seat gearbox was actually quite good. The Ibiza I had.
Volkswagen gearboxes and Ford are the best for manuals.
Yeah,
they
were good.
Yeah,
it was really, really smooth, really light, and it was quite nice to go through the motion of it. The clutch, however, on my Seat was a bit meh because it was quite a high clutch, so it was like you're pressing it
they can't
through
be
the
on
engine.
The GM ones, yeah.
But other than that, I think my MX-5 probably will be the best gearbox I actually own personally, unless I get like I don't know what was the other options in that top
GR
9
Yaris.
Civic, GR Yaris. Yeah, I'd love to try that out. So Matty, like, what do you think pros and cons are between automatic and manual? I can think of a few. But what are your thoughts?
Well, I think it's a case of the grass is always greener, isn't it? When you're driving an auto, I think if you're in traffic with an auto, it's great, but sometimes you're like, I need a manual, I need to do it myself, and that's always been my mindset, that I want a car with it. I have to change gear myself. I can't let the car do it for me.
I agree.
But modern autos are great, don't get me wrong. And then a manual, it's, as we discussed before, when the clutch becomes annoying, aka in traffic, But flappy
especially in my
paddles,
car, like
awful.
See, yeah, I mean, as I said, the flappy paddles you don't need to use all the time, which is the good thing about them. I mean, it depends on the car, I think, but like the cars that I've driven, you don't need to have the flappy paddles constantly. You just have to. You can put it in automatic or in comfort mode, and you're just driving a normal car pretty much. But as you said, I would probably choose a manual over pretty much anything else, simply because it is pure driving. It is driving. It's driving is as a definition is you're the one in control. And I think if you have an automatic, it's sort of half-arsing it. Not really driving. And that's why I'm not a fan of electric, because there's no gears.
That's it. Yeah, we need to savour the manual box, don't we, before it goes extinct, as we know it anyway. Yeah.
I just want to go and buy loads of like gear knobs and just like put them on my wall. For like, when I'm 80, I'll be like, oh, better times.
Yeah.
I would buy an automatic if I was doing like long motorway miles, because there's no point of having like gears then, is there?
Well, that's it. So the automatic I've just bought that I'm planning to daily, the BM, it's great because my commute to work is motorway now. It's a bigger engine, it's an automatic, it's better, more refined, and then also if I go and buy a car with me mate and bring it home, it's just a nicer workhorse to have than my Saxo, saving putting all the miles on my Saxo, do you know what I mean?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, so sometimes an automatic is better.
It is, yeah. Like in London, it's definitely needed because my car in London just doesn't work, because I'm literally sat in like third gear because it's all like 20 miles an hour, and all the cyclists overtake you, so it's like but and also it would probably be better in London. But as you said, like with your new BM, that's sort of what I'm going to look into as well, hopefully by end of this year or early next year, as a another sort of daily car, and then get the Mazda off the road for a bit or something. But I think that kind of wraps it up, doesn't it, Matty?
Yeah.
And what we concluded is that the manual is still the best. In my opinion, that is. But let us know what your thoughts are in the comments, or write into us, which we're going to do now. We're going to plug our social medias, aren't we, Matty?
We certainly are, yes. Do you want to start?
Yes, so obviously you can follow us here on the channel, which is the Grand Teen, and if you follow us on Instagram and TikTok, because we started uploading regularly on there, we just post like little short clips or funny memes, because that's kind of what it's for, then follow us on there. It's all at the Grand Teen. And Matty, what about you?
Well, you can find me on YouTube if you like what you see on Matty's Cars, for car content over that, reviews and that. The Instagram for that is Matty's Cars YT. Occasionally on Twitter. But if you want to follow my personal Instagram and see pictures of me under the influence, etc., dressed as Liam Gallagher, it's Mattsgram99.
I don't know how you come up with a new thing every week of what you're doing on that account. It's brilliant. So that's it for us. We'll see you next month, hopefully with another guest.
Yes.
Stay safe and goodbye.